Gerard Butler may have thundered the iconic line, "This is Sparta," with unstoppable fury. But behind that unforgettable moment lay a whirlwind of chaos, intense pain, and near madness that fans never got to witness. For years, the grueling reality behind the making of 300 remained hidden. But now, Gerard Butler is finally opening up and breaking his long silence, revealing the brutal, behind-the-scenes truth of what really unfolded during filming. So, if you've ever wondered what the movie never showed, it's time to dive into the raw secrets that Butler has courageously brought to light. When 300 hit theaters in early March 2007, no one quite expected the cinematic storm it would unleash. It was directed by Zack Snyder and adapted from Frank Miller's bold graphic novel. Visual reimagining of the Battle of Thermopylae, with slow-motion action, exaggerated drama, and powerful performances. Despite being seen as a risky bet by studios, it defied expectations and exploded at the box office in its debut weekend alone. 300 raked in an astonishing $70 million in ticket sales. Hollywood was stunned, especially considering the film's relatively modest production budget of $60 million. The success didn't end there. The film went on to gross over $456 million worldwide. It wasn't just a financial triumph. It redefined what stylized cinema could achieve. Outlets like Business Insider and Wikipedia later cited 300 as a turning point in modern action filmmaking and a prime example of the growing appetite for bold, visually experimental storytelling. But the impact of 300 didn't stop at the box office. Ignited an entirely new fitness movement. The shredded physiques of the Spartan warriors, especially Butler's portrayal of King Leonidas, set a new standard for Hollywood action bodies. Fans everywhere began to ask, how did they get in that kind of shape? The answer came quickly. In the form of the now famous 300 workout, a brutal, high-intensity routine that the cast used to prepare for the film. As reported by GQ, the workout caught fire, sparking a broader public conversation around fitness, masculinity, and discipline. Before long, gyms began offering Spartan-themed classes. The movie's influence on fitness culture endured long after it left theaters. Still, what most people don't realize is just how intense things got behind the scenes. Beneath the roaring war cries and stylized bloodshed was a production process built on real suffering. It was grueling, painful, and at times relentless. None of that was apparent to audiences. It's at least not until Gerard Butler stepped forward to share the darker truth. Once he opened up about what the cast and crew endured, it revealed a behind-the-scenes story that was more intense than any battle. Depicted on screen, every day on set came with its own toll. Director Zack Snyder's vision required meticulous precision and a heavy reliance on blue-screen technology. Creating a fully digital world, while it looked breathtaking on screen, the reality was far from glamorous. According to Butler, working on 300 was a physically exhausting and dangerous endeavor, one that resulted in frequent hospitalizations. In a revealing interview, Butler shared, "I remember every day somebody was getting taken to the hospital." He recalled turning around mid-fight to see one actor injured by a spear that nearly hit his eye, and another with a broken ankle. From a fall, it was insane, Butler said. The physicality of the battles, while visually clean on screen, was chaotic and unpredictable during filming. The weapons used, although dulled for safety, were still dangerous. Cast members performed most of their own stunts, often repeating high-impact scenes for hours while wearing heavy armor and navigating tight digital backdrops. Because Zack Snyder opted to avoid extensive use of stunt doubles, the actors were expected to do much of the fighting themselves. The result was authenticity, but it came with bruises and exhaustion. Butler explained that the lack of real sets meant actors had to fight enemies that didn't exist, swing swords at green screens, and bring emotional intensity to scenes without physical cues. It wasn't just acting. It was a constant fusion of physical training and dramatic performance. Every slow-motion leap and thunderous clash was earned through blood, sweat, and a staggering number of takes. And while fans saw powerful warriors, the reality was that the cast was pushed beyond their limits day after day. Yet perhaps even more intense than filming itself was the physical transformation that came before a single frame was shot. long before cameras rolled. The road to becoming a Spartan warrior started inside the punishing walls of Gym Jones. Gerard Butler and his co-stars trained under elite fitness expert Mark Twight, a man known for pushing bodies to their breaking points. For Butler, this meant 7 straight months of intense training up to 6 hours a day, including weightlifting, sword-fighting drills, CrossFit circuits, and combat simulations. This wasn't just about looking muscular. It was about developing real functional strength. Twight's program, detailed on sites like gerardbutler.net and How Stuff Works, was far from a Hollywood glam workout. It was designed to break you down and rebuild you into a warrior. Actors trained in full Spartan gear, flipped tires, sprinted through obstacle courses, and performed endless push-ups and pull-ups. Even on set, between scenes, the actors kept pumping iron to maintain their carved physiques. The transformation was grueling. At various points, he suffered from tendinitis, hip damage, and a torn rotator cuff. Some days, he could barely lift his arms, yet he never stopped. In fact, he said that the pain helped him reach the emotional depth required to play Leonidas, man willing to die for his people. To Butler, this was not just acting, it was living the character's truth. Training didn't end when filming. Began it only intensified. The suffering, the exhaustion, and the pressure became part of the performance, eventually. The official 8-week training program used for 300 gained a life of its own. It blended weight circuits, endurance exercises, and martial arts into one relentless regimen. The workout became so famous it was published online, and soon, fitness enthusiasts all over the world began attempting it, many finding it nearly impossible to finish. But beyond physical transformation, what truly set Butler apart was his unmatched dedication to embodying Leonidas in every sense. Butler's commitment went well beyond training. According to several reports, including Business Insider, he meditated daily, claiming he tried to channel Leonidas through a weird portal. He immersed himself mentally and emotionally, believing that only by entering the Spartan mindset could he truly understand what it meant to lead men into battle. This psychological approach brought an emotional rawness to his performance. He also insisted on doing many of his own stunts. For Butler, it wasn't about ego or impressing an audience. It was about honoring the character. Intense battle sequence. Butler's adrenaline surged so powerfully that he later described it as one of the most electrifying experiences of his career. Every slash of his sword, every shout of defiance. Though 300 was filmed in a controlled studio, Butler found himself in dangerous situations throughout his career. As reported by People.com, suffered hypothermia while filming in Iceland, and was nearly injured during explosive car stunts with Pierce Brosnan. Butler is known for throwing himself into roles without holding back. His commitment in 300 was only the beginning of a career built on risk and passion. And then there were the unique technical challenges on the set of 300. According to Screen Rant, almost 90% of the film relied on visual effects. The blood, gore, and scenery were mostly added digitally in post-production. That meant actors had to imagine everything. They fought enemies that weren't there, reacted to attacks that hadn't happened, and emoted without physical cues. Demanded extraordinary focus and imagination, especially in scenes loaded with emotion or physical exhaustion. Ultimately, Gerard Butler's full-body commitment to Leonidas, mentally, physically, and spiritually, helped define not only the success of 300, but also the legacy of a new kind of cinematic warrior. He didn't just play the role, he lived it. Every injury, every meditation, every drop of sweat became part of a performance that felt real. Even in a world crafted with digital wizardry, now that you understand the extremes Butler went to, in order to become King Leonidas, it's time to step even deeper behind the scenes, into the heart of the battlefield itself, where cutting-edge visual effects, sweat-soaked performances, and visionary direction turned an ordinary warehouse into a mythic realm of war and sacrifice. Zack Snyder's unique approach to directing 300 gave him absolute control over every visual detail, lighting, atmosphere, and environment. This level of control allowed him to craft a world that looked mythic and larger than life. But such creative freedom came with a price. To achieve the film's iconic contrast and glowing skin tones, the crew relied heavily on artificial lighting. These lights, while visually stunning, made the set unbearably hot. Cast members found themselves working in sweltering conditions, often to the point of physical exhaustion. Gerard Butler, who portrayed King Leonidas, suffered the most. He later admitted that the intense combination of dehydration and overwork caused him to faint during filming. Wearing heavy armor under searing lights, while performing intense fight scenes for hours, pushed the actors to their absolute limit, both physically and mentally. This obsession with visual style also led to creative choices that prioritized mood and symbolism over realism. A striking example is the scene with the Oracle. Her hypnotic, cryptic dialogue wasn't fully scripted. In fact, much of it was improvised. According to Screen Rant, this was done intentionally to make her presence feel eerie and dreamlike. These decisions reflected Snyder's broader goal, not to tell a historically accurate story, but to bring a legend to life, one rich with symbolism, fate, sacrifice, and glory. Every gesture, line, and background image was designed to evoke deeper emotional themes. But 300 didn't just influence cinema, it reshaped fitness culture around the world. The cast's muscular physiques weren't just CGI creations. They were the result of months of real, punishing physical training. To embody the fierce Spartan warriors, the actors underwent the notorious 300 workout, brutal routine with 300 reps and no breaks. It included pull-ups, deadlifts, push-ups, box jumps, floor wipers, and kettlebell drills. The workout was so extreme that, according to Men's Health, only one actor completed it from start to finish. Even Gerard Butler admitted that the routine left him so worn out, he couldn't train again for over a year after filming. The ripped, battle-hardened look of the Spartans captured the public's imagination. Soon, fitness magazines and gyms began promoting similar regimens. According to Time.com and Entertainment Tonight, the film also sparked broader conversations about body image and fitness pressure, particularly among young men. Spartan ideal, lean, muscular, and fierce, became a cultural standard that many began striving to achieve. The film's legacy extended far beyond the screen. It's becoming a global symbol of strength and endurance. Despite the physical toll and emotional pressure, something powerful emerged during production, a profound sense of unity among the cast. Let's explore the brotherhood that formed behind the scenes. One that mirrored the fierce loyalty shown on dash screen, as King Leonidas. Gerard Butler took on more than just a role. He embraced the responsibility of leadership both in front of and behind the camera. He often spoke about how crucial the bond between cast members was in portraying the Spartan spirit. The ensemble, Lena Headey, David Wenham, Dominic West, and Michael Fassbender, transformed from co-stars into something much deeper. They became workout partners, emotional support systems, and a true team. Butler later described the experience as life-changing, said they drew strength from one another, using that energy to overcome the most grueling days of filming. Their connection wasn't just helpful, it was essential in making the Spartans feel real. From day one, cast trained together, facing the same intense physical challenges. The 300 workout became a daily test of endurance, with hours spent pushing their bodies to the edge. But this training did more than build muscle, it built loyalty. Through sweat, pain, and exhaustion, the actors developed deep trust. They motivated one another during workouts, shared meals and recovery time, and found laughter during the rare breaks between takes. For Butler and the others, these routines became sacred, helping them not just become Spartans on screen, but feel like warriors in real life. Butler frequently spoke about how this shared suffering created genuine respect and brotherhood. In one interview, he recalled that by the time shooting began, the cast had forged a silent understanding. "We were like a team," he said. "When we stood on set, it felt like we'd already been through war. We knew each other's strengths, and we knew each other's pain, made the performance real." This real bond brought authenticity to the film, portraying the Spartans not just as soldiers, but as a tight-knit brotherhood willing to die for one another. The camaraderie extended well beyond the workouts. The cast supported one another through the psychological strain of filming in front of green screens, wearing heavy armor and enduring long, grueling hours. Lena Headey and David Wenham drew from this closeness to bring depth to their quieter, more emotional scenes, moments filled with grief, farewell, and sacrifice. Michael Fassbender, who was still a rising actor at the time, credited the group dynamic for keeping him focused and grounded.
Ow.
The shared goal of honoring the Spartan, ideals of courage and loyalty created a bond that far surpassed the script. Their off-camera friendship became the emotional heart of the film. Now, let's take a look at how 300 shaped not just those who made it, but the world that watched it. Legacy and cultural impact. When 300 premiered in 2007, few could have imagined how far its influence would reach. What began as a stylized adaptation of Frank Miller's graphic novel quickly evolved into a global cultural event. It reshaped how epic stories were told in film and influenced everything from fashion and advertising to pop culture and fitness trends. As CNET Live reported, 300 redefined the historical epic for a new generation, blending graphic novel style with mythic storytelling. The film broke new ground in visual storytelling. Snyder's use of high-contrast colors, dramatic lighting, and ultra-slow-motion battle scenes established a bold new aesthetic. The result was a world that felt more like a living myth than a traditional historical setting. Its look inspired an entire generation of filmmakers. Shows and films like Spartacus, Blood and Sand, Immortals, and even Game of Thrones adopted its visual flair, favoring stylized action, close-ups, and artistic blood effects. The success of 300 gave studios the confidence to take visual risks, proving that audiences were hungry for bold, innovative cinema. Outside of Hollywood, the film's impact was just as significant. The Spartans' warrior physiques sparked a global fitness revolution. The 300 workout, originally designed by trainer Mark Twight, became a worldwide sensation. Men's Health and other fitness outlets published versions of the routine, helping it go mainstream. For many, achieving a Spartan body became a new benchmark, sparking conversations around discipline, physical extremes, and modern body image. The film also resonated deeply with audiences on a thematic level. Its focus on sacrifice, honor, and defiance in the face of overwhelming odds struck a powerful chord. The iconic line, "This is Sparta," shouted by Butler's Leonidas, became a viral catchphrase. It spread across memes, social media, and even political satire, becoming a pop culture symbol of bravery and defiance in the academic world. 300 renewed interest in ancient history. College professors began using it in classrooms to compare myth versus fact, and sales of Herodotus' histories climbed after the film's release. Though historians often debated its accuracy, they acknowledged that it sparked curiosity among students who may never have explored classical history otherwise. In Hollywood, 300 was a game changer. It proved that a film didn't need big stars or elaborate reworld sets to dominate the box office. Shot almost entirely in a warehouse using blue screens, the movie became a massive success. It catapulted Zack Snyder into the spotlight and paved the way for his future films like Watchmen and Man of Steel. Gerard Butler also saw his career skyrocket. Going from a relatively unknown actor to a global star, even years later, 300 remains iconic. Its influence can still be seen in film, fitness, and pop culture. It wasn't just a movie, it was a movement. And while it impacted millions, its most transformative effect was perhaps on one man in particular, Gerard Butler. Impact on Gerard Butler's career. For 300. Gerard Butler was still searching for his breakout moment. While he had already appeared in films like Reign of Fire, Timeline, and the 2004 musical, The Phantom of the Opera, he hadn't yet captured widespread attention. These projects showcased his talent, but none catapulted him to stardom. That all changed with his electrifying performance as King Leonidas. Released in 2007, 300 turned Butler into a global phenomenon. As the fearless Spartan king, he commanded the screen with intense presence and delivered one of cinema's most quoted lines, "This is Sparta." Audiences connected not just with the character, but with the conviction Butler brought to the role. He underwent punishing training, gave a raw physical performance, and became the face of a cultural moment. 300 wasn't just a blockbuster, it was a career-defining moment, and Butler was at the center of it. Following the film's success, Butler became one of the most in-demand actors in Hollywood, quickly landed major roles in both action and drama. In I Love You 2007, he showed his emotional side alongside Hilary Swank. This role helped him avoid being typecast solely as an action star. He returned to action with Gamer 2009 and Guy Ritchie's Rocknala 2008, proving his versatility. In Law-Abiding Citizen 2009, Butler played a man seeking justice against a broken system. Showcasing his ability to portray dark, layered characters, he also found success in romantic comedies. The Ugly Truth 2009, with Katherine Heigl, and The Bounty Hunter 2010, alongside Jennifer Aniston, were both commercially successful. These films kept him in the spotlight and cemented his image as a versatile leading man. Still, Butler's name remains synonymous with action. He starred in Gods of Egypt 2016, the disaster thriller Geostorm 2017, and led the Fallen series Olympus Has Fallen 2013, London Has Fallen 2016, and Angel Has Fallen 2019, playing two Faznel's Secret Service agent Mike Banning. These roles reinforced his action hero persona and earned him a loyal fan base. Butler didn't limit himself to blockbusters. In films like Machine Gun Preacher 2011 and Greenland 2020, he balanced action with emotional depth, proving that he could anchor character-driven stories just as effectively. In the years since 300, Gerard Butler has become one of the most recognizable and enduring stars in modern cinema. That one role didn't just launch his career, it shaped it. It gave him a global audience, a signature role, and a platform to explore a wide range of characters. For millions of fans, he will always be King Leonidas the warrior who made death look like destiny. But for Butler himself, 300 marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey that made him a true icon.